Hello and welcome to SoCal Prep Report. My name is Randy Rosenblum, your host. My co-host tonight is going to be Jack Pollan, formerly of the Daily News. We're going to bring Jack in a moment. But I do want to say what a great week we have of sports coming up. We have the CIF Southern Section basketball playoffs getting really down to the nitty-gritty. The open division of the city basketball playoffs. Girls basketball going all out. Baseball's in full form. Everything is happening. It's going to be a great week. And in fact, I can tell you this just came in, just concluded. Palisades wins the Girls City Water Polo Championship 13-10. Congratulations to the Dolphins. And with that, let's bring in Jack Pollan. Jack, how you doing tonight?
Should be a lot of fun here tonight.
I'm sure it will be. I don't know if people want to reach you and read you now, how do they hear and listen or read Jack Pollan?
Yeah, the best way is my Twitter following at Pollan Preps, Pollon Preps at Pollan Preps, and check there for scores and little tidbits and scoops and info. That's the best way right now.
We have two great guests on. We're going to talk to Angelo Gasca, who led Venice to its first ever city football championship, and Nick Halic, the basketball coach at Birmingham, who has a huge game tomorrow at Venice in the open division. But Jack, let's start. I want to get one thought from you on basketball, and then we're going to do a little bit of soccer, then we'll get to our guests. You're one guy I've seen print the lines for games, like Vegas spreads for high school. So we have some big games tomorrow. I just want to get your thoughts. We got the Sierra Canyon game. They're hosting Harvard Westlake in a huge Southern Section matchup. What's your point spread on that game?
I'm going to have to make Sierra Canyon an 8.5-point favorite in that game. They're at home. They're the more individual, talented team, individually talented. They've got their issues and stuff going on, but Harvard Westlake is really defensive minded. If they can control tempo, they could cover that spread. Harvard Westlake has a chance to win that game if everything kind of goes right. But I would think an 8.5-point, spread on that game would get a lot of people saying, Sierra's going to kill them. And, they'll cover that spread. And I think you could get 50% of the people to say, no, I like Harvard. I think they'll cover that spread. And, you'll get a lot of people to say, I think Harvard has a chance to win. So I think 8.5 is a decent number there.
Coming up with one other game, Birmingham in the city section going to Venice. Remember, the Gondoliers beat them the first time.
Absolutely. Birmingham and Venice, that's a big game. Venice got them, middle of the season type of game. And tomorrow, I think Birmingham's playing really well. They had some tough games with Taft and El Camino Real in league play and a couple of nice non-league games to end the year. Venice, I think, was really hot and playing well. I don't know if they're on that same trajectory, right now. They suffered a couple losses. They might be a little rattled. I would actually make Birmingham, a 3.5, 4-point favorite at Venice tomorrow, to be honest. A road favorite. I think Birmingham's got a good chance to win that game tomorrow with their juniors and seniors
that
coming
sounds
through.
Great, but again, we're not promoting gambling here at all.
No, Randy, for entertainment purposes only.
For entertainment purposes only. I like the way you build that. That's really good. All right, we have some soccer we want to discuss. We're gonna get to Angelo Gasca in football, but the other football is soccer. And there was a game in Hesperia. This is Southern California, folks.
Yeah.
Hesperia against, I think it was Oak Park. They played a 2-2 tie, Division III playoffs, and it was snowy. Now, Hesperia won 3-1 on penalty kicks. Look at this weather, Jack.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like a winter. It looks like a winter wonderland there, Randy. I mean, is that in the East Coast or in the Midwest?
it sure looks like it, but all the players and the coaches said it was the most fun they ever had. It's just a little bit different, certainly. And again, the winner there was Hesperia, and congratulations, they go on to the semifinals in soccer action. They're a very good team, but the weather there was the story. Also, we want to congratulate Emilio Pena. Now, he's the son of Carlos Pena. This is his 24th goal of the season, his final as a senior. He's going to sneak in there and knock it in. Great player. His dad, Carlos Pena, this is at Excelsior High School out in the Lancaster area. Well, Carlos was a correspondent on this show, so I'm sure we're proud of Carlos, and I know he's proud of his son, Emilio. Congratulations, 24 goals this year, 58 goals in his career. He also had 12 assists this season for his team. Congratulations there. Great career for Emilio Pena. All right, Jack, let's turn our attention to Angelo Gasca, the outstanding football coach at Venice. He's been the head coach there for 22 years. He's been at the school for 32 years coaching. Before that, he played there. He is Venice High School, and they finally got their first city title, beating Canoga Park. Coach, congratulations. Coach, congratulations on your championship. He's still taking notes. I think this is what happens when you go with live TV. He has froze, but frozen in time right now is the fact that they beat Canoga Park. Can we hear Angelo? Are you there? I don't think he's there. At least if he is, we can't hear him. But they knocked off Canoga Park. They won handily. They won their first city title. I remember back in 2003, Jack, he had the top team in the city, and they were stunned at the Coliseum by Carson 30-20. He was undefeated and ranked number one. It was a great moment for Angelo going out after winning the game against Canoga Park and celebrating. But again, I go back to 2003 when he had like 10, 11 D1 guys and got stunned at the Coliseum. This is great retribution for Angelo so many years later, isn't it?
Yeah, Venice, Venice has been one of the top programs in the LA Unified School District in the LA City section for, many years now. They're always good for, 8, 9, 10 wins a year. And it's great to see, Coach finally break through and get that championship. I noticed the last couple of years, Venice beat up on some of the San Fernando Valley teams here, Kennedy, Reseda, Canoga Park on his playoff marches. That hurt as a San Fernando Valley guy, but great job by Venice, and they're always known as a quarterback factory.
They are.
Great quarterbacks, Division I quarterbacks going to major conference types, schools and major conferences.
Yeah, he has a great quarterback there now, and Paul Kessler. I want to talk to him about, but I don't know if we're going to get the feed. Paul's a great player. When they won the championship, he was involved in many big plays against Canoga Park. They had the Diamant brothers in recent years, who were so phenomenal.
Remember J.P. Lossman?
J.P. Lossman, ended at Tulane, started at UCLA for a while. So it has been a quarterback factory there, and they've had so many great players and have come so close for so long. And it was great that Angelo Gasca was finally able to break through. Coach, one more time, can you hear us? I can see him. We can't hear him, though. So his connection apparently is dropping. So we'll turn our attention to prep basketball. Jack, I know this is your bailiwick. You love it. We'll get to Nick in a moment, Nick Halic. But I do want to talk to you about where we are in the southern section. We talked about the game, Sierra Canyon and Harvard Westlake. But on the other side, Corona Centennial is phenomenal. Corona Centennial has already won their pool. They're sitting there waiting for the winner of tomorrow night's game. Centennial's the defending CIF Open Division champion, and they're going to have a great chance against either Sierra Canyon or Harvard Westlake.
Yeah, 100% correct, Randy. Corona Centennial right now is the the benchmark, the standard. They beat Sierra Canyon last year in the Open Division final. They haven't missed a beat despite losing a great guard in Kylan Boswell. And they got 4 guys they rely on: Jared McCain, Donovan Dent, Aaron McBride, and 6'9" Devin Williams. And great coach, and Josh Giles always has them ready to play. It's going to be real interesting next Friday night out in Corona. Sierra Canyon or Harvard Westlake will go out there and try and bring the Open Division championship back to the San Fernando Valley area. It's going to be outstanding. Jared McCain going to end up at Duke or Gonzaga, from what I'm hearing. UCLA's in the mix as well, so it's going to be a major school for McCain. And they have a phenomenal team, just phenomenal, great chemistry, great cohesion. It's going to be fun next Friday night.
Yeah, what caught my eye, and I was there when they beat Bishop Montgomery in the playoffs, is how cohesive they really are. Their passing, how they're connected, how unselfish they are. McCain was brilliant the night I was there. Donovan Dent plays downhill. He's on his way to the University of New Mexico. And Josh Giles has that team going. They are better than last year's championship team. They are going to be a tough out. They're nationally ranked. We talk so much about Sierra Canyon, but Centennial, the Huskies, are also nationally ranked, Jack.
Yeah, it's wild that you could lose a player like Kylan Boswell and not miss a step. And that's a testament to Coach Giles and the program that he runs and the buy-in from all of his kids. The one word that keeps coming back to my head is winning. It's just all about winning at Corona Centennial right now.
Yeah, and Devin Williams is so long. I mean, he's a young player, and the 6'8", 6'9" player. He's just going to be phenomenal as he grows into his body. Well, with that in mind, let's bring Nick Halic in. He's the coach at Birmingham. I can't keep him up too late. I'm glad we're off the air by 9:30 because he's got a game at 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Coach, that's going to be against Venice. My first question to you is, they beat you the first time. Convince me you're going to be ready this time in a knockout round to beat the Gondoliers.
What month is it? It's February?
It is February.
We're pretty good in February last time I checked. So we're going to be ready to play, man. The kids are up for it. We came off a COVID pause 2 weeks. We had 1 day of practice. I just got my football guys back. And so we're really different. Tyson Jackson and Corey Blunt, their roles changed dramatically. So midway through the season, they're totally different compared to, playing Taft and Elko and Chatsworth and some of the games they've had. They've really grown up. So we're going to be ready to go, man. I know Venice is really talented. I know it's tough winning on the road. We had to beat Westchester last year on the road, and some of those guys were there. They saw how we got it done. So we're ready to go.
Jack,
yeah, I really like what Nick is saying there. I'm on the Birmingham bandwagon here right now. Tyson Jackson, Corey Blunt, Larry Olinka. They got some other role players doing some really good things. Cameron Hatch. So I like the way Birmingham's going. I actually kind of think that Venice loss was a wake-up call for the team. I think
played pretty well after that.
Yeah, they started really playing well after that. And like Nick said, they were kind of in a funk, COVID pause, holidays,
sure.
missing a football player or two.
And a guy like Brooklyn Caldwell, that was his very first game. So he had to take 2 weeks off. And then, not very first, we played our leader before that. I'm not going to be disrespectful or anything like that, but that was just that was the very first, really competitive game that he was playing in. Even just going back and watching the film, we missed a lot of layups, gave up a lot of open shots. But credit to them. They beat us. And we're thankful for the opportunity to play them again. That's for sure. We were looking at, we kind of felt we would slide anywhere between 3 and 6, depending on what happened. And that's what shaked out. And here we are.
Yeah. You're the 6.
I completely forgot about Brooklyn Caldwell.
Yeah.
And Nick has another big guy. So he's got a nice deep roster. They're playing well. They beat Taft. Had a great game with El Camino. They've had some really good, meaningful league games and some non-league games with Grant and Poly late in the year. So, it's going to be a good game. Venice is a good team. Sophomore, Tyler Hunt. David Galley has been coaching there for a while. He's got his best team there in a long time. They beat Westchester for the first time in how many years was it, Randy? 40 years?
Yeah, 50? Something like that, right?
Yeah, something ridiculous. So,
Jack, it is interesting to see, and Nick, it's interesting to see Westchester is the number 1 seed, and they won their first round game in Division I. That's a little eye-popping, unusual that they're not in the Elite Eight. But I do want to go back to Nick, and I want to respect his accomplishments because he's won 2 open division titles in recent years, including last season. But last year, Coach, you had David Elliott, who to me was the ultimate closer in the city section. He's now at Loyola Marymount. Who's your closer this year? Who's the guy that'll get you through?
Honestly, it's tough to figure that out right now, right? We haven't been in those situations yet. I got some ideas. I don't know if I'm gonna give them away on your network here, but like I said, I think the guys have grown into their roles, man. And if you look at David, David had to go through some things to get to that point, right? Like, we got killed by Westchester in one semi. And then the next year we get back to semis again. And then, Reggie and his guys at Fairfax just demoralized us again, 20-point loss in the semis. And so, that'll make you grow up and that'll make you figure some things out. And that's what it did with David. He was a totally different player that spring season. And so, I think our guys right this season have gone through some things and they're going to figure it out, man. They're going to be all right.
I'll tell you who his go-to guy is.
That's why I have you on the show, Jack, to tell me those things.
Well, his go-to guy maybe for a bucket could be Blunt or Olinka, but the guy that's going to make them go and could be the difference between winning and losing is Tyson Jackson. That guy is a really good point guard. He's like an extension of Halic on the floor. He can calm the team down. He can speed them up, slow them down. He kind of does whatever they need in the moment. He's a solid player, and he's going to be the key guy for Birmingham. I kind of think Birmingham goes as he goes.
And what's scary is, Jack, he didn't get to play last season. We were looking for him to back David up and help get David off the ball a little bit, would have helped David score a little bit more. But it didn't happen that way. But he's really taken his opportunity this season to step into that starting role, and he's done the best with it.
It's going to be a great tournament, Randy. Any of these 8 teams can beat each other.
Yeah, I know Taft's the number 1 seed, but you can make a case that Birmingham should be number 1. Then you can make a case that Fairfax should be number 1. I mean, there's a lot of give and take there in the 8. Speaking of Fairfax, I do want to talk about one of the great games in city section history last year for Birmingham. They were back close to 20 points late in the game in the semifinals. And Coach, obviously you rallied and won it and then beat Westchester for the title. How did you come from that kind of deficit in a situation so dire? These are playoff situation against Fairfax. How did you do that?
We went outside, because that whole no locker room thing last season. So we couldn't go in the locker room, We didn't have a board. We're outside, in the middle of J Hall. And if you've been to Birmingham, you know where that is, right in front of Dino's room. And we just talked and we talked about a few things. We made some adjustments. We switched Chris Cook on to somebody on their team, and we went way more man. And we just said, hey, if we're gonna go out, we're gonna go out this way. We're gonna go, man to man, and let's try to cut it to 10 and see what we can do. And in the third quarter we were still down, but we could see a shift happening, right? We could kind of feel that game changing. And then James and David, they just hit shot after shot. They literally just didn't miss in the fourth quarter. And we started getting more stops, and you look up and we're up. And I think his group that year wasn't as experienced, obviously. And, our group was a little more experienced, and that really helped us out. The experience, it carried us through, and the experience in that game and the defensive adjustments we made in that game, we applied them the very next game right from the jump. So we took Chris and we put him on their point guard right away, and he used his length to really bother their point guard at Westchester. And it was Fairfax's game really won that championship for us for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Birmingham did a great job. They basically just said, why are we trying to figure out Fairfax? We're the more talented team. They need to figure us out. And they just started punching back midway through the third quarter till the end of that game and came away with that win. And once they won that game, you just knew they weren't going to make any more mistakes.
We're visiting with Nick Halic. Jack Pollin's my associate here tonight on SoCal Prep Report. Nick, the very fine head coach at Birmingham, trying to go back-to-back in the open division of the LA City section. But, Nick, I know you played a very talented Harvard Westlake team not all that long ago. And they're playing Sierra Canyon. My son
was on the bench.
So I want to get your thoughts about Harvard Westlake and how can they play with Sierra Canyon, and will they win that game?
So less than a year ago, right? We played Sierra Canyon too. You know what I mean? And actually, we played St. John Bosco, where the big kid transferred in from. Can't remember his name. And so I can tell you, man, it's going to be it's going to be an interesting matchup to me because you have like a clash of styles, right? I'm probably my style of coaching is probably more geared towards Coach Travare as far as like tempo and getting guys in space and letting them create and stuff like that. And Coach Rebibo, man, he's a system guy, and he gets every ounce of every kid, and he has the most talented group he's ever had, right? To me, since he's been at Harvard Westlake. And so the shot making ability of Harvard Westlake is tremendous, and it's really underrated. I know you talked about Corona Centennial and how they make shots, and they're a tremendous team, but Harvard Westlake can really shoot the ball. I mean, I don't think we played that poorly against Harvard Westlake. They just did not. I mean, you put a hand up on the Dunlap kid, and it almost doesn't matter. It feels like it doesn't matter, right? And they have size this year. They have toughness this year. They have ball handling. And so, and Coach Rebibo is going to have a great game plan. So it's going to be a tough game for Sierra Canyon. But just like Jack said, them being at home, that experience that they've had year after year being in this position, it is really tough to stay at the top. You know what I mean? Like, it's tough. Getting there is way easier than staying there. And like, we've been at the top of our section for a little bit. He's been at the top of the southern section, Coach Travare and Sierra Canyon, for a while now. And I think maybe that Centennial game might have woke them up, and I know they want to get there. I think Centennial locking it up and Sierra Canyon knowing that they have an opportunity to go right that wrong from last season, I think they're going to be highly motivated. And when they're really motivated and they have everybody on the roster playing, even I look at a guy like Dylan, the little point guard they have.
Matoyer.
Matoyer. He killed us last year. We thought, hey, let's play off of him and see what he can do. And he made shot after shot, and he's been making big shots all season. Hit a game winner on ESPN. So they're deep in their own right, and I think it's going to be a tough task for Harvard Westlake. Jack said Sierra Canyon +8.
Yeah, that was his number.
No, Sierra Canyon -8.5.
Yeah, Sierra Canyon 8.5.
My bad, Jack. I don't bet as much as you, bro. I don't bet as much as you, so I get those plus minuses messed up.
Let me clarify. There's no betting here. These are just fictitious numbers. I do want to talk to Nick a little bit about some of the other teams in your open division. You played Palisades. They're the number 4 against King Drew and Caleb LeCount, who's really one of the great guards in Southern California, a little 5'9" guy. He's had some 50-point games, high 40-point games. That, to me, is an intriguing game, your 4-5 matchup. How do you see that? And I know you played Pally.
We played Palisades' first game of the season. Tyson Jackson might as well have been a freshman. We were up 5 the last minute. We had a couple crucial mistakes, and we got to overtime, and they capitalized, right? I worry about Palisades' foot speed with a guy like Caleb McCourt. And I don't know if you've ever played. I played King Drew before, and they defend. They really defend. That coach always has them playing well. He has a motto, slow feet don't eat, right? I think I saw him wearing it on the back of their shirts one time, and they live by that. And they got a kid who can absolutely put the ball in the basket, right? Like 50-point games, 60-point games, whatever level, whoever you're playing, you score that many points, you can put it in the hole. So it's gonna be. If I was picking, if I had to pick, if you were forcing me to pick, I would go with King Drew. Just with the experience of being there before. They've been here a few times. I think it's hard for you to play your first open division playoff game. like Grant, if they would have got in this year, I think they would have done much better this season than last. I think it's really tough your first time at that level of speed, that level of physicality. It's just so different from Division One. And Palisades is a good team, and coach did a great job. They beat us, and but they've struggled. They've been up and down this season, right? They just beat Venice, but they've been up and down. So if I had to pick one, I'd go with King Drew.
Yeah. A quick note on Fairfax, El Camino, and Taft and Narbonne, two of your West Valley friends going against some very strong competition.
Yeah, Elko can beat anybody, man. They're a scrappy group. When their guards are making shots, they're really tough to beat. The big kid, I can't remember his name, the kid that transferred from Crespi. He's
Carson Pfeffer.
Yeah, Pfeffer.
Carson, man. He's a shot maker. He's got some moxie. They say that in football.
His brother Luke is a great football player.
Yeah. They say that a lot in football, moxie, or I'm not exactly sure what it means, but whatever it means, he has it, right? Like he's got this kind of chip on his shoulder, man, and he can get under your skin, but he can fill it up and he can back it up. So Elko's got a shot, and Taft and Narbonne, like I think Coach Taylor would say the same thing, right? Narbonne's pretty good, and that's not a normal 8 seed game, right? They've been in the open division plenty of times. They travel well, they play well on the road, they play defense, and they rebound. So they're going to be in the game. I mean, Taft at home, they play with a totally different energy. I'm glad I don't have to play them at home there. If I see them, it'll be in the championship on a neutral court. But playing them there, I would say I would favor Taft by 2 or 3. It's going to be a close, grinded out kind of game. It might be low scoring. That coach knows how to play with tempo, and he knows when he doesn't have the best horses in the race, he slows it down. So I would go with Taft, but only by a slim margin.
It's good that we have Nick now giving out point spreads going by 2 or 3 points.
Taft actually beat Narbonne early in the year back in November, 58-51. Obviously, we're 3.5 months later, so things are going to be different. But it's going to be a close game tomorrow night. Taft's pretty good at home on a Friday night, 6 p.m. Friday night game. We'll see what Narbonne can do. It's going to be a good game.
Hey, Nick, we're going to let Nick go here. Nick, thanks a lot. Good luck tomorrow against Venice. I know you have that aspiration to win a second title and 3rd overall in the Open Division. You have a great chance. I'm glad your team's playing well.
Thank you, guys, man. Appreciate you having me, and go Patriots.
Thanks, right. Nick.
Jack, some final thoughts here in the city basketball. Nick did a great job of discussing all the teams and the matchups. Who do you really favor? It's really hard to pick. It's real close this year in the city. There's not really one great team, is there?
Yeah, I kind of think if Taft wins tomorrow, I think they can get through to the final. I kind of think tomorrow could be a little bit tougher than King Drew or Palisades maybe in the next round. And then I like Birmingham to get to the final. I think they're playing a Venice team who's kind of, maybe tiring out here a little bit. And I like Birmingham's upperclassmen, juniors and seniors, really starting to come together now. And I would see them beating a young Fairfax team in the semis. Or if it's El Camino, Birmingham needs no motivation if it's El Camino, because they feel like they should have won that game in Woodland Hills a month and a half ago. I think they feel like they let El Camino steal one. So Birmingham's in a great spot. It would be amazing if we had Taft Birmingham in a city final. That would be just excellent.
Yeah, that'd be a little bit different. Jack, thanks for a great job. One more time, how do people find you?
On Twitter at Pollin Preps, POLLONPREPS at Pollin Preps on Twitter.
All right, we want to thank Angelo Gasca. I know we had some problems getting him on. He had a great year, won a city football championship at Venice. Nick Halic was tremendous tonight. We wish his team at Birmingham good fortune tomorrow at Venice. Jack, thank you very much for your expertise tonight on SoCal Prep Report.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me, Randy. It was great.
We love having Jack Pollin on. We'll have him on again. We're on every Thursday night on LA 36. Look for SoCal Prep Report. We'll have all the latest news and all the key people right around Southern California in prep sports. For everyone at LA 36, our producer Larry Zavala included, doing a tremendous job. I'm Randy Rosenblum. So long for now. We'll see you next Thursday. Good night, everybody.